Each year, 340,000 women die of cervical cancer. In many areas around the world, it goes entirely undetected and unmentioned. But it's entirely preventable. Just a single dose of HPV vaccine can offer lifelong protection from 90% of cervical cancers.
I mean, it's really so exciting to me that we've got the elimination of a cancer on the table. It's what gets me out of bed every day. To say goodbye to a cancer, who wouldn't get excited for that? In late 2020, the WHO published for the first time their plan for eliminating cervical cancer as a global public health problem. If in the next many decades we could reach the thresholds of vaccinating 90% of all girls by the age of 15, by screening 70% of all women, ideally at ages 35 and 45, and treating all cervical abnormalities, 90% of those, then we could essentially eliminate cervical cancer. TogetHER for Health is a nonprofit that works on cervical cancer advocacy, putting positive pressure, influencing policymakers, decision makers, individual leaders around the need for cervical cancer leadership, resources, funding, and really trying to show the urgency at which we feel this work needs to happen.
My work with PSI in India showed me firsthand that this problem is solvable. I co-founded TogetHER for Health because the necessary political and financial commitments won't materialize on their own. Today, cervical cancer kills more women globally than complications from childbirth. But we can change that reality. TogetHER for Health is 100% committed to eliminating this disease.
Our approach is three-pronged. First, we scale up, advocating with policymakers for systemic change. Then we scale out, mobilizing on-the-ground partners through targeted funding and education. Third, we scale deep, amplifying stories and innovations to inform and inspire.
Having the ability to come together in person as colleagues, as scientists, as public health professionals, just lets us work, I think, that much more efficiently towards a shared goal and a shared mission of HPV-related cancers. So we have a series of meetings lined up over the course of the week where we will invite experts, individuals with lived experience around cervical cancer to come to Capitol Hill and share their stories with legislative members from both of our parties and make the case for support resources in particular for cervical cancer prevention around the world.
Cervical cancer endangers women where access to vaccination, screening, and treatment is most limited. But it isn't confined to developing countries. Alabama has some of the highest rates of cervical cancer in the United States. That's why TogetHER partnered with academic experts and health providers to launch Operation Wipeout, inspiring Alabama to create the first statewide plan to eliminate cervical cancer.
We are focusing on communities, not even counties, but communities, where we can go into that community and engage with the services that are available there, the local businesses that are available there, and make sure we have someone in the community that can give us some credibility and can help us to develop a trust with the women that we're speaking with and teach them about cervical cancer.
If you have relationships within your community, early screenings, early vaccinations, treatment that's done early on, you can eliminate morbidity and mortality.
Cervical cancer needlessly ends the lives of 3,200 Kenyan women every year. Our collaboration with Scope Impact and community partners resulted in the Kizazi Chetu campaign, igniting a cervical health movement in Kenya. Kizazi Chetu, or Our Generation in Swahili, launched a national conversation through social and traditional media, which ultimately drove a 100% increase in cervical cancer screening at participating clinics.
When it comes to cancers, this is the one that we've got figured out from A to Z. To look to colleagues, around the world who are making that bold, ambitious steps every day towards that future is really what I get very excited about. If you're sitting beside a woman who has been touched by that disease herself or knows someone who's lost a family member, and it's just drives home the importance of, why this is something worth fighting for.
Together for Health isn't just our name, it's how we work to end deaths from cervical cancer all around the world. Visit our website at togetherforhealth.org to learn how you can play a part in ending this preventable disease forever.